So, working on the body paragraphs of the travel essay, um, I just did a Google search for the place I want to go and a place or a travel guide that I know of, Fodor's. So, you could use that with whatever place you want to go. But you can see that if I click in my Google search, that there are lots of things. Um, and it's got an itinerary, the 3 days thing. Since I'm asking you to do 3 body paragraphs, that kind of thing might fit beautifully into um, this kind of essay. Now, don't use the AI stuff that pops up automatically. I realize it gets hard to escape, but for the sake of using actual sources, you want to go scrolling through till you find a source, maybe something like this. Oh yeah, Rick Steve is also a good travel guide kind of person. Um, so I'm going to go back to my photos because I like it as a travel guide because it's got the kind of separated out things to do, where to stay, and restaurants. So look, that is kind of nicely divided, and I, in my head, want to do that as part of my essay. As you've seen in my introduction, I listed the 3 things that I was gonna do in the thesis of my end of my introduction, thesis statement of my essay. So, the first thing I want to do when I am doing my research is I want to find something quotable about the first thing I'm going to do, or I can move my slides around. I can change my thesis statement to reflect the order of my body paragraphs, whatever I find easiest. I just want to make sure the transitions make sense. So I don't see something that jumps out at me right off. I can click read more. But I want to find something about a gondola ride, and I found it right here because that's something that I said I wanted to use. So I'm going to read this. I'll pause you while I read. It's interesting that this is arguing against taking a gondola ride because they're so crowded. So maybe I'll check out another boat ride. So looking for gondolas and other boat rides, I came upon this best restaurants. So I'm going to look at this article and work on the slide about restaurants first. All right, so I've scrolled through the article and come upon this one. I like it because it says it's an archetypal Venetian trattoria. And so I'm going to copy this content and paste it to my slide and see how I might work it into a paragraph. Now, when I copied and pasted, it kept this hyperlink, and I don't want that. So how do I prevent that? I can hit Control Shift V to copy, and it should take out anything strange. I think it's got this squiggly line because of some of the grammar. I'm going to change the font colors to reflect the quote burger paragraphs. This is going to be my quote, and I'm not going to start with that, right? I need to start with a main idea sentence and then introduce the quotation by saying who the source is that I got this information from. This is kind of my go-to slide format, but I don't really need this title part. I just need the text part, as I've done before. And the quote I made white so that I could see it, but what I really want to do is make the background color white so that I can have my quote burger colors and have them show up where I can explain them to you. And since you're going to be explaining the quote burger colors to me and all your classmates, you're going to need to do the same. So if your background's too dark to see the colors, you're going to need to hit background and solid fill with whatever color you choose. I don't know how I chose that color. I'm going to work on it. I think it's right here. I might choose options there. I see it now. I right-clicked on the background and I can see the color. For some reason it gave me that, but I just want it white. I could leave that border, honestly. Let's see, background, solid fill, and it looks like I should be able to choose white. So yeah, now the whole thing's white. Now I can type and you can see the colors of my font. Font color changes will be go to home, and right here is the font color. I had made it white when I had a black background, but I want to have different colors that reflect the quote burger colors, starting with brown for the main idea sentence. So I'm just getting started with a main idea or topic sentence that's generally about why I think it's important to try new food when you're visiting a place. But this doesn't say as much as it needs to really make the quotation that I'm going to use make sense, even if I'm going to modify the quotation, which I will probably do. So I'm going to keep writing, so you can have more than one sentence for a topic sentence. So it's topic sentence plus background and context for that top bun, that content that is kind of your first bite into the paragraph. And since my quotation I'm going to use talks about Venetian trattorias as archetypal, which means traditional, I'm going to mention something about that in my next sentence so that when that's mentioned in the quotation, it seems to flow well and completely makes sense. It doesn't seem that the quotation comes just out of the blue and is disconnected from the rest of the paragraph if I go ahead and use some of the language that you're going to see in the quotation. Now I've got enough for the top bun for the quotation to make sense. But what comes before the quotation is that signal phrase, the red ketchup that goes between the bun and the meat. So I'm going to look back at my source and see the name of the source, which will be at the top. And actually, Fodor's Travel might be good enough. Oh, look, Rebecca Ann Hughes. I can say, according to the author of the 15 Restaurants in Venice in 2024, as my signal phrase. And then I will use Hughes in my parenthetical citation, and I'm going to show you how to do that. The reason I'm going to use Hughes is because the author's last name comes first in the work cited for any source. It's not the author's full name, just the last name. So you can see how that works here on the style.mla.org and on your SAM student handout, which you have in your content on not on Blackboard, on Canvas. All right, my signal phrase should be red, and I'm going to show you some important things about titles. So, Fodor's Travel is the title of the website. Website titles should be italicized. And I included that in my paragraph so that you could see how to do that. So, according to an article on the Fodor's Travel website called, and this is the article title, article titles go in quotation marks. Okay, like that. And there is a comma at the end of this phrase, this introductory phrase, because it is an introductory phrase, and it ends with the title. So if you have according to and then the title of the article you're quoting, it's going to generally end with a comma if you don't have a verb or anything after that. Now, I don't want to use this entire quotation. If I were going to use a quotation that was more than 4 lines long, I would need to use a blocked quotation format. You can use your SAM student handout to see how to format blocked quotations. Okay, so it's a really long document, but it is the best document for learning how to do all of the formatting things that you need to do for English classes. Okay, when I am using a traditional length quotation, so fewer than 4 lines long, then I'm going to not put a period at the end of the quotation, even though originally there was a period there in the original source, because the period, you only get 1 period per sentence. So you have to have a period after the parenthetical citation. And what goes in the parenthetical citation is the author's last name, because as we looked at on the Works Cited list and on your SAM student handout, you'll see that the author's last name is first in the Works Cited for the source. So it goes author's last name, comma, first name, and middle name. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So the author's last name goes here, and not last name, comma, first name for the parenthetical citation, just for the Works Cited. So let me pull up the Works Cited that I started with images. I know that Hughes comes after a word that starts with A, so I'm going to go ahead and type in Hughes, comma, and then I will put her Rebecca Ann here next. So I keep looking at this guide for punctuation, where everything goes, and the SAM student handout you could keep next to you. Let me show you how this looks. So last name, comma, first and middle name, followed by a period, which I can double check here. Is it a period? Yes, it is. Title of the source. So make sure that you put the title of the source as it should look. So that is the title of the source, right? You can see that at the top of this article. I just found it at the very top. Not at the very top, actually. The title of the website is at the very top. You can figure out the title of the article, hopefully. If you need help with that, you can ask me or ask a tutor, ask a friend. What is the title of this article? Then make sure the title of your article is in quotation marks like that. Okay. And let me make this bigger so you can see better. And then you'll want to do the next thing, which is the title of the website. Title of the website was at the very top. Okay. And it's probably one of the first things in the URL, that address bar thing. So make sure you put the title of the website in italics, as we discussed before. Then you're going to put the date. And in MLA format, it's day, month, year, like this. Where did I find it? Well, conveniently, it was next to the author's name here, the date that she posted this and wrote it. So if you don't see a date up there, how do you find the date? Scroll to the bottom. That's what I'm doing. I'm scrolling down to the bottom. And usually next to a copyright symbol, there will be some sort of date. See, down at the bottom there. And so if all you have is a year, then just put the year. Okay, so if you don't have a date anywhere, that's where you'll put that. Okay, so then we continue on. What comes next? Oops, I went backwards. We're going to then check to make sure once we have the date, publication date. We didn't have a publisher that was different from the website title. If we looked at the bottom of this article and it didn't say Fodor's Travel but said some other company, we would put that there. But since it's the same as the website title, we don't have to put an additional thing for the publisher. So if you don't have something, you skip it, okay? The container is the website. Article title, container is the website. We didn't have any of these things. Publisher was the same as the website title. Publication date we got. Location. What is the location? That is just this address bar. So I just highlight it and hit Control C to copy it, and I'm going to paste it into here. And I put a period at the end because it's your very last thing. Now you're going to see it turn blue when I hit space. I like you to keep your clickable links in your Works Cited. Other instructors don't. Officially, it's not something you're supposed to do, but I like it for my class, and the number one thing is to follow your instructor's requirements. Now for a real Works Cited page, this would have the title Works Cited centered at the top. Also, it would be double spaced, and you can do spacing here. And you would click remove space after paragraph if you have that available, and don't skip any extra lines. You would click it like that. So that's it for works cited. There's your title. Keep them in alphabetical order. This is only lowercase